Hi everybody, Steve here with IGN with our breakdown of the newest Doctor Strange trailer. This is the trailer that just came out of San Diego Comic-Con, and it's packed with amazing visuals and even some clues about the characters and maybe even the plot about the movie. We want to start right here though with this amazing shot of Manhattan as the city is kind of reflected above and beside itself, but the cool thing here is the way the buildings in the foreground begin to tumble into this hole that opens up into another sky. You can see there Avengers Tower is also at the top of this shot. It's a really striking effect, and it's also a nice homage to Steve Ditko, who made great use of sort of psychedelic imagery when he created the character in the 60s. You see more of that here as Doctor Strange backs through this sort of shattered, fragmented barrier as the Ancient One approaches him. Look at the Ancient One's ring here. We're going to see that again on this figure, who we presume is still the Ancient One, as she casts a similar sort of spell on the streets of New York. And you see the whole city sort of fragments and begins to spin around and create mirror images of itself. While it's a really cool visual effect, it's even more interesting that we get a sense of how that might actually play out in the movie. We see here Caecilius, who's the main villain of the film, presumably, on the left. He's reaching out and twisting the streets of New York. And what's really interesting here is watch the two figures just to the left of that ring of fire. That's Doctor Strange and Baron Mordo. And as the streets twist, they fall, but no one else seems to be affected. The two ladies walking on the street there, gravity's totally normal for them, but Baron Mordo and Doctor Strange go sliding off the street. And that to me suggests that combat in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for magic is going to be taking place in a world that other people can't perceive. That's a really, really cool premise. We see a little bit more of that here as Doctor Strange runs up on the side of this building and sees the city at right angles with itself, and everything appears to be fine to everybody else. But Doctor Strange is obviously in great distress over this, as presumably would be Baron Mordo, who runs up beside him. Let's talk about Baron Mordo a little bit. Baron Mordo in the comics is a sort of a rival of Doctor Strange. In this movie, or in the trailers at least, he appears to be a little bit of an ally, so it'll be interesting to see what else they do with his character. We also get a look at Wong. Wong is Doctor Strange's manservant, also a very powerful magician in his own right, and definitely helps Doctor Strange learn how to use his powers. The main bad guy in the movie is going to be this guy, Caecilius. Now, we're not sure who he is or what he does. Our assumption is that he's the emissary or sort of acolyte of a larger villain, and as a Doctor Strange fan, my first thought is it's got to be Dormammu, but it'd be interesting to see how he plays out. Doctor Strange is also not without allies. We see Christine Palmer here, played by Rachel McAdams, who in the first trailer looked like maybe just a work colleague of Doctor Strange, but here, hints at maybe that she's a little bit more than that, just based on the tender look she's giving him there as he's recovering from his accident. We also see her in a situation of great distress here. She's trying to save Doctor Strange's life. You can see he's dressed up in the Doctor Strange outfit right now, and all the sparks and the fact that she's alone in this place suggests this is like a moment of great distress for her. Doctor Strange is a character that's also defined a lot by the artifacts and magic items he has. Here we see what we're guessing is the Book of Ashanti, and we know it's Doctor Strange reaching out for it because of the scars on his hand. Those are a result, obviously, of the car accident he was in. We also get a look at the Cloak of Levitation here. Now, in the comics, this cloak was given to Doctor Strange by the Ancient One after he defeated Dormammu. We're not sure what role it plays in the movie itself, but we do know that it still has this really amazing visual effect. You can see here as Doctor Strange twists it around him, it kind of settles on his shoulders of its own accord. So it has kind of this animated sort of intelligence, which I think is really, really cool. Probably the coolest artifact Doctor Strange has, though, is the Eye of Agamotto, which we see here around his neck. Now, the filmmakers have told us that this will manipulate probability and time, so it's highly likely that it contains one of the remaining Infinity Stones. And we get a little bit of a hint of what its power might be in the scene, or the shot just preceding this, as Doctor Strange is walking up to those windows. Take a look at what's in each one. On the left, you have this sort of misty forest. In the middle, you have these sort of surging seas. And off to the right, you have these snowy mountains. It's a really, really cool magical effect. And we assume this is in the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is Doctor Strange's home in Greenwich Village. We are absolutely sure that we're seeing that in a scene here as Doctor Strange is sort of casting this fire whip spell, and we see Caecilius down there at the foot of the stairs. Of course, it wouldn't be a Marvel Cinematic Universe trailer without a fun little sting at the end, and we get it here courtesy of this card that has the word Shambhala on it. Doctor Strange asks if it's a mantra and is told, no, it's the Wi-Fi password, which is a cute little joke, but it's also a nod to fans of Doctor Strange, as Into Shambhala is one of the greatest Doctor Strange arcs of all time, so it's cool to see that referenced here as well. Those are all the details we caught in this trailer. Definitely let us know if you caught anything that we missed, and in the meantime, for all things Doctor Strange, you're right in the place you need to be, IGN.